Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to that news.
This news is pretty fresh. I mean, just before we started recording, you're like, hey, look at this.
Minutes before we were setting up to record, and all of a sudden I got the message that...
The Acolyte Season 2 is not happening.
Nope. No surprise.
Which is funny, because it's a little contrary to other news that it comes out that's like, well, because this art book is coming out that
called
says
it Season 1.
Season 1 means Season 2 must be coming. I'm like, oh, they named that thing ages ago.
Yeah, they were hopeful. Mm-hmm. You can't blame them.
No.
And I mean, I feel bad for the people.
The intention was there.
I feel bad for the people who enjoyed Season 1, but in the grand scheme of things, I think this is good news.
Right.
I don't think this show resonated with a lot of people. It didn't get the numbers. It didn't bring in the new fans.
If it's not doing what they want it to do, then...
then don't carry on with something that ain't working.
I just get mad when, like, Leslie Henlon said that this is a contained season, you know? The whole thing is in one story.
No.
The Kenobi series was a one story. Yeah. This was not.
No, this was clearly setting up a second season.
Right, so now we just have to think that Plagueis is out there, that Vanestra is keeping things under wraps.
Nah, let's do something else.
Let's do something else.
Let's go look at that Palpatine kid.
They left all of these threads of story all over the place, and it annoys me when I don't have answers to the questions, when things
then make a good show.
Finished.
Make a good show.
What?
That's the problem. Like,
it's not my job to make the show.
No,
Their
I don't
job
mean you.
Was to make
no,
this show.
That's not what I meant at all. I just meant, like, I understand your frustration, and like I said, I do feel bad if you enjoyed the show or if you wanted answers, but like, the show wasn't very good. Let's be real.
Right.
If it was, it would be getting a second season.
Oh,
People
I understand
would have watched
that.
it. And so if you make a better show, you don't leave the fans going, well, now what's the answers? Well, you'll get a comic book probably in a few months.
That's not what I want, though. I wanted to finish it in the media. In the media that it is in.
I get you.
It's disappointing because, I mean, there were some good actors in there. There was some decent acting.
There was some fine performances.
There was
some good actors.
Good action from time to time.
Lightsaber fights, I mean, for what they are, were fine. You know, I don't know if they were the most deep and emotional fights we've ever seen in Star Wars.
But I wonder what doomed the series even more. Was it just lax in storytelling, or was it Leslie Headland? I mean, she came out there with the mandala and other cast members and all the things to say. Why don't you just be quiet sometimes? Well, isn't that what hurt Captain Marvel so bad?
Well, yeah, in a manner
the original
of speaking.
Captain Marvel movie from Marvel, I didn't think it was a bad movie. I've still watched it, and I love the music for it. I think the story's pretty decent.
It's okay.
Like, if you really, like, try and dig into the bones of what her character was meant to be, and, you know, everyone's like, oh, Brie's acting was so wooden, she's a horrible actress. She was supposed to be wooden. She's a person who doesn't have a real memory and is a facade of a person. I get it. So I don't think, overall, it was not the worst Marvel movie.
No, I mean,
no.
That's
I'm
a
not
hard
gonna
title
say it
at
was
this point to claim.
The best, but I don't think it was all that bad.
I don't think it was great. I thought it was an average movie.
But you did have Brie Larson running around before it came out, talking about the patriarchy and strong woman character.
A lot of it was things she didn't even say in relation to the movie. She did say some dumb things, and arguably dumb things in relation to the film, but she had said some things previously, like that wrinkle in time comment is what really blew up. I don't care what a 40-year-old white dude thinks about a wrinkle in time. Which is, hey, you don't have to care.
You don't have to care.
A 40-year-old white dude can still give his opinion on the wrinkle of time if he really wants
to. That is true. It's just, as an actor, you have to consider the fact that you are walking around, you are a living billboard for the projects you are in. Yeah. Everything you say publicly will be analyzed. It won't just be for this project, it will be for the next few down the line. At least the next few down the line. Social media means I can look at your comments forever.
Yeah.
Ago and go, look, you said this way back then and you could never possibly have changed your mind. You're horrible. We saw Captain Marvel through the lens of the things that Brie Larson had said. She put a filter over between you and the movie to say, this is what the movie is supposed to be about. This is what it is. And I'm wondering if Leslie Headland did the same thing.
To a degree. She said a lot of things that, not necessarily that they were, like, bad, but, you know, you're talking about how this movie is my childhood. It relates to my queerness, and it does this, and it does that, and it's like...
You say all that, and then it makes you feel less relatable to other people, because you're like, well, I don't have these experiences, and...
I don't think that's less relatable, but you're putting it in this box of, like, this is what this movie or this show is, and it's like, well, you know, that's kind of a weird thing. Just let people see it, and if later down the road you want to contextualize some of your decisions, I think that's one thing, but when you're, like,
all the things that she said coming up, you know, like, that it represented her queerness, it was her D&D... storytelling, it was her fantasy things, it was fan fiction, it's Frozen meets Kill Bill. By constantly telling us what it is, You're not letting us decide what it
decide
is.
what we want it to be to a degree, and then
It's a
like
trick,
you said,
yeah.
Yeah, I think the media brigade that every show and movie has to have these days kind of does more disservice than a
I
positive
feel like
sometimes.
they need to have more, and this sounds weird, but they need to have more rules on what they can have their actors and actresses say when they like sign them on. You know how they have the NDAs?
They do. I'm sure they have tons of rules.
They can do better.
Well, Katie Sackhoff just the other day again got asked if she's going to be in the Mando movie, and she's like, even if I was, what do you think I'm going to say?
Tamora Morrison actually was just asked too, and he said, I don't know. He says, as far as I know, I'm not.
If you see him reciting lines on the beach,
it doesn't mean anything. He was reciting lines on the beach, and it wasn't anything to do with anything.
I would love to see another, Book of Boba Fett season 1, not great. I would love to see him again get another, even if it's just an episode of Mandalorian that he hijacks, and just be Boba Fett again. Please, let him do it.
Oh, just like Andor suffered a little bit at the beginning, remember? Because was it Fiona Shaw, the one who played Marva, who said that the whole thing was supposed to be like a political look at Trump's America.
Yeah.
And then Tony Gilroy came out, he's like, not really.
No, so it's just general, like, he did the Lucas thing where it's like, Lucas has made some references to what he was, kind of mimicking, if you will. But he came out like, nah, we don't really have there's no real political, modern day agenda here. It's just like, here's our story, which is brilliant, which is what you should do.
Yeah, because people can see it through any lens they want to then. Because art is supposed to be seen that way, at least in my opinion. If I go to a painting and I stare at it, it's going to invoke feelings and emotions in me on a personal level. If someone comes over and tells me this is exactly how I'm supposed to feel, it doesn't feel like art anymore because my opinion no longer matters.
Well, I think there's a give and take there because there's both sides. Like the artist's intent obviously means something, right?
But
yet at the same time, your interpretation
if I'm feeling
is
the
right
right things, then they have done their job.
Sure.
Honestly, staring at somebody's art, if you feel anything, they've done a great job.
I agree.
Rather than just looking at it going,
most of the time, I'll be honest, when I look at a painting, I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's good stuff there. Nice. I mean, that's just not my thing. So, but yeah, I'll probably make a video on my channel talking more about this. I'm sure. But
wait, you cover the Acolyte?
I did cover the Acolyte.
Wow.
Yeah, I covered the ratings the other day, and they were disaster. I mean, again, I don't think this is a surprise at all.
All right, for people who follow this channel, I'm going to give you a look at things to come for fun. Because that's what I do. I was filling out my calendar the other day.
Star Wars, we haven't had that in a while.
That's because there is no Star Wars.
This week in not Star Wars. This coming month in not Star Wars is what this should be titled almost.
I guess so. I mean, Rings of Power starts on the 29th.
Yeah, we go. We're almost there.
Yeah, season
Buckle up. It's going to be great. Hey,
Rings of Power, Thursdays.
Hey, if you don't know anything about Tolkien and you watch the latest trailer, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Of course I do. So.
I know the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. I'm not super familiar outside of that.
No.
So, as somebody who isn't as hugely knowledgeable about the lore, if you told me this was the first season, I'd be like, this is an interesting looking show.
Yeah.
Just forget the other season exists and get on board, right?
Yeah, I'm not an expert by any stretch, and not the same way I'm Star Wars, but I've read the Silmarillion, I've read a lot of his works. I've been a huge fan for 35 years since I was a kid when I read it for the first time. So
yeah, the next thing that we've got coming up is Agatha All Along. We'll be starting September 18th. We'll be there for that too.
You're excited for that.
I am.
That should have been canceled somewhere along the way.
I think it looks like a fun witchy adventure.
Sure.
And I'm down for witchy adventure fun.
Okay.
Starting on the 19th on HBO, we'll have Penguin.
That I'm looking forward to.
And then they're going to take a 10-day break, and they're going to be on Sundays.
Yeah, why?
They're starting it on a Thursday, and then on the 29th, episode 2 will come out.
Let you process that first episode.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be playing it on repeat the whole time, trying to really catch people.
Sure. Well, you can watch it anytime. Streaming, man.
That's what it's for.
That's the world we live in. Anytime, anything you want.
In October, starting on the 3rd, Vox Machina will be back. All you D&D fans out there, Vox Machina. They'll be doing the 3-episode drops per week thing. So you'll get 3 episodes on the 3rd and so forth till they get through 12 episodes. We got to see what goes on with the Chroma Conclave. Yeah, that's right. I know my stuff.
Well, you watched it. We watched it.
November, we will have Arcane Season 2 dropping. We don't have an official date on that yet.
Yeah, it's just November.
We
are almost done rewatching the first season.
And I believe Dune Prophecy starts on HBO in November on like the 1st or something.
A lot of cool, interesting stuff coming out.
Dune! Excited for Dune.
Yeah, I've not read any of the Dune stuff. I'm not like you. You're the more... It's kind of like the Lord of the Rings thing, where I've like seen the movies, I've seen like the old sci-fi series. I know the basics, but don't really know anything beyond that.
For those of you with Apple TV, on the 15th of November, Silo will be back for season 2. And if you haven't watched Silo...
Silo's good.
I could rave about Silo for quite some time. Severance will be back next year.
Wow, both were fantastic. Like,
both
Apple
were fantastic.
TV, like,
they've got some gems.
A ton on there, but pretty much everything we have watched has been really good.
And then the last in the TV schedule coming up, Skeleton Crew, of course, will be starting in December, but we're not really talking about that. Squid Game.
Why would we?
December 26th. It is your Christmas present from Netflix.
Is it going to be a Christmas present? Or is it something that didn't really need a season 2, but is getting one anyway? I'm just asking.
Well,
I like season 1.
I think to wrap it up, he would need a season 2, because at the end, he was going back in.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
That this system has not stopped.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like, if it had ended like that, you would have been like, all right.
Oh, but okay. But see, that's how a smart show ends, not like The Acolyte, where they're like, look at all this stuff.
It's Plagueis.
It's Yoda. It's
Plagueis all along, and Yoda being a
And look at that. The bad guys holding hands, staring at the sunset.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, that's kind of the stuff that's on the plate coming up for us in terms of TV shows. I'm not getting into movies right now. But
yeah.
TV shows. We got a lot of interesting things. We're probably going to try and cover a lot of things here because we've been getting requests to cover more.
Besides Star Wars. But we'll still blanket Star Wars. Of course.
Star Wars will still be
always number one,
very prevalent. You just might be getting reviews from these other shows.
Yeah, you'll probably get a little more of other stuff from time to time. Not less Star Wars, per se.
It's like treats.
I don't know. We'll see. Depends on if there's Star Wars news as well.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I think that's all we got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of the big Acolyte news. Are you happy? Are you sad? Whatever the case may be, leave a comment below. Let's talk some Star Wars and some other stuff. And until next time, thanks for watching.